Okay, now we got that streaming going. Right on. Welcome back to the Strong Asian Lead podcast, everybody. My name is Masami Moria. Thank you again for tuning in. This is another one of our weekly podcasts. I'm gonna make this another solo episode. More education, more stuff to look at, and just talk about other movies that we should be watching and things that I've learned over the years. There's so much that I say this every podcast, almost everywhere I go. There's so much more for us to learn. I think there's so much that, we're not like grabbing into that we can, keep our education going. I've watched so much stuff in the past couple of years that, I'm still watching more stuff. So I just want to keep passing on that information to you, the listeners, and hope that you will go watch these movies and listen from people, our legacies, and learn about the industry, because there's a lot to learn. And I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't so passionate about it. I wouldn't be doing these podcasts if I wasn't so passionate about it. Like, listen, we're not getting a lot of views. We're not getting a lot of listeners. Let's just be honest. We're probably about no more than maxing out at 25 total. That's total. That's streamers and podcast listeners. And probably, I'd say like a few of those same listeners are podcast listeners. It's probably just the numbers. So I'm not here for the numbers. Numbers would be nice. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to show up every day, show up every week, and say my piece, talk about the industry, what I've learned, share my knowledge, share what I can share with everybody. Because if I'm just keeping it all to myself, then it's not fun. And I know a lot of my friends aren't listening to my podcast and streaming, and that's totally cool. Like, the people who are listening, I hope you're listening to friends. Reach out. I would love to know if you're listening to the podcast, and would just kind of hear your opinions. And for the friends who aren't listening, that's totally cool. Like, you got your own thing, and maybe my podcast isn't for you or whatever. I'm just going to keep doing, because I think it's just important to me, and I think it's important to the community. And I would love to do more interviews and stuff. We do have interviews ready to lined up and go, but it's really just like I have to go edit them and stuff like that, and that's exhausting. And doing all the show notes and just it's a lot. And so but I'm also like, I'm on this train. I really want to get to a 100 episodes by the end of this year, and that's 52 weeks. That's 2 episodes per week. I think I can do that. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm already on the track. So I'm still Mondays and Thursdays, Mondays and Tuesdays, Mondays and Wednesdays, recording and doing Tuesdays and Thursdays putting out the episodes. Tuesdays and whenever Tuesdays and Thursdays are Clubhouse. And last week's Clubhouse was really good. If you weren't there, we talked about acting with an Asian accent for 3 hours. It was a solid 3 hours of conversation about that. We had probably like 10, 15 people, maybe 10 people, 10 different people talking about the intricacies and relevancy of acting with an Asian accent. It's really, really important talk, and I hope we will do it again. But I think there's more to talk about that, and we want to have more conversations like this. So I hope you join in. I hope you have share your opinions, and that we're able to keep that conversation going, and different conversations too. So again, I'm not doing it for the popularity. I'm doing it because it's important. It needs to be done, because I'm not seeing it done. I'm not seeing the work done. I enjoy a lot of other people's podcasts and a lot of entertainment podcasts sometimes, but the deeper conversations just aren't really being had at a consistent level. And that's what I live for. That's what I live for in these days. So please join the Clubhouse. Get the conversations going, and share this podcast. We can't keep going without sharing the podcast and sharing the wealth of knowledge. You don't even have to tag me. If you don't want to tag me, fine. You don't want to share in the public, fine. Share it with somebody else. Just like, hey, listen to this podcast. Check it out. Check out one of the interviews. Just send them one of the interviews. Don't even send them my solo episodes. Send them my interviews, because I think those are really important. I don't know who we're going to put up this week. Maybe it's one of my other friends, but I think it's really valuable. I'm doing my best here, everybody. I'm doing my best here. I think last week I had to do all the Instagram stuff and the Canva and the quotes and the captions and the video. It's just, it makes me tired just thinking about it. It makes me tired. I think I have to do it again. So that's why I'm trying to hire somebody else to do it. So we're getting there. I'm so close. But yeah, that's the whole thing. Anyways, let's get on to this week's podcast episode. We're going to talk about documentaries about the Asian American cinema. I think some people, I don't know if you're a documentary fan. I'm a documentary fan. I don't like necessarily making them. Specific topics I'll make them about. And I'll take the time, but I haven't really even done that. It's not my passion. There's certain things that just need to be done that way. But I've watched a lot of documentaries in my day. Very focused on the Asian American community and very in specific topics as well. And there's so much more to be watched. I wish I had more time to watch it. But this isn't going to be, let's talk Asian American history or Asian American, it is history, but this isn't like culture. This isn't the 5-hour documentary in PBS. This isn't just about the camps. That's something that I always watch all the time, or isn't something about the killing fields. Again, another good movie. This is Asian American cinema history. Again, this is why I'm here, right? The cinema history is really important because that's what talks about culture. That's what society is. And so I think that's what's really valuable. And the thing that we're not being taught in schools, even if we're taught history, Asian American history, which again, we're not really being taught that. We're definitely not being cinema history. and in film schools, they should be teaching this. They should be teaching this subject because there's so much film and documentaries and this just legacy. Almost over 100 years of Asian American cinema, and we almost have no knowledge of it. It's ridiculous, right? It's like we don't talk about that. So I'm going to be here talking for the next 30, 40 minutes about Asian American cinema history. I have 5 documentaries that I'm in no particular order. I've watched a few of them, and there's some others that I even still haven't watched myself that I still have on my list. But we're going to talk about some of the ones I have watched, and we're going to put them in no general particular order. Excuse me. But yeah, so let's get started. The first one I want to talk about is Amy Tan, Unintended Memoir. Its director was James Redford, writer was John Burns, and talked about Amy Tan's life. And we don't know enough about her. So if you don't know Amy Tan, she did the Joy Luck Club. She's a prolific writer. She loved that. But what we don't know is that she got pretty sick at the end of her life. What was it? Wasn't Parkinson's? Nope. See, I haven't watched them, so you have to excuse me, and I haven't I'm not gonna go watch them again right now. But she had I'm gonna forget this. I'm gonna look it up while we talk about it. But Amy Tan, she was, we all say the Joy Luck Club, right? The Joy Luck Club was the biggest first Asian American thing and culture and stuff, and it necessarily wasn't, but it was a lot. And changed a lot of places and a lot about film. And we don't know about her life. And this is a documentary we should all watch because it's just a part about, who wrote these stories, who was the director, right? Excuse me. And, she had some criticism about her works. And she had her mother threatens suicide very often. Her grandmother died by suicide. She has a lot of mental instability in her life. It's rough. And I found it is Lyme's disease. It went misdiagnosed for years. You watch the documentary and she says, I got a little thing in my leg and it got big and she didn't feel so good. She was dizzy all the time and then they kind of got it out and she's like, I felt so much better. We don't know that about Amy Tan. We don't know about these people who lived a life. We cherish their works, but we haven't really given thanks to the creators. And that's why I'm kind of here. She suffered through complications of epileptic seizures, and she had a really hard time with her children. Children had to deal with that too, and excuse me. And she had for a while she was mute. She didn't talk. That's rough. It's rough. You know, I'm not, and this is not going to be one of those podcasts where it's like all happy-go-lucky. It's Asian American history is pretty rough, but if we don't like learn about it and teach it and kind of understand it, then we're missing out. So, I'm not going to make light of anything. Now, there's good parts and great things, and these people have done great works. I just think that we should also know about the things that we don't know about. So, yeah, Amy Tan, she wrote a bunch of novels. Joy Luck Club, 1989. The Kitchen God's Wife, 1991. The 100 Secret Senses, 1995. Bone Setter's Daughter, 2001. Saving Fish from Drowning, 2005. Valley of Amazement, 2013. Short fiction, nonfiction, and she won a ton of awards. You know, first finalist in National Book Award, finalist national for Joy Luck Club, same for Critics Circle Award, finalist in Los Angeles Times Fiction Prize. You know, she's got a whole list of awards that we just need to appreciate that she did a lot. She ended up dying in, 1952. Oh, no, that's not right. She was born in 1952. I think why does this not say she says she's still around? She's not still around. I'm pretty sure she passed away. And if I'm making that mistake, I am totally terrible. Terrible person. There's a lot of people who we don't know that they're still alive around. I feel really bad, but sometimes that's just the truth. I think she's still around. Yeah, it looks like she's still here. And again, stuff that I don't know. Did you know? Did you know if I said Amy Tan, did you think she was still alive? Maybe. I hope so. I hope you did. I hope you knew more than me. Because I just think again, we don't know these things. And I think that's why we're teaching. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect. All I'm saying is that I know a good amount and I take the time to go listen, learn, and watch. That's the whole point about it. And I don't have to be perfect. I'm just sharing information. I'm not the know-it-all everybody thing. I'm just saying, like, I want to share the things that I do know. And if I don't know something, I'm always going to be willing to say, like, I just don't know that, or I made a mistake. And so, yeah, it looks like she's still around. I hope she's doing fine now. I was pretty sure the documentary said that. The documentary's wrong. But yeah, I think that it's really important that we kind of take that. So she's only 70. It's pretty good. Excuse me. I'm going to keep drinking my tea. And it's going to be a chill podcast. You know, I miss having a co-host. I really do. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and they all have co-hosts. And I get to talk to somebody. I'm talking to myself here. So if you just listen in, just like, I don't know. I'm giving myself props for that because no one wants to talk about themselves. All right, documentary number 2. Let's keep moving on. Claiming a Voice, the Visual Communication Story, 1990. Directed by writer Arthur Dong. And yeah, if you haven't watched this film, it's so good. I love it because it's one of the first. Now, if you don't know visual communications, like, okay, come on, keep up. But visual communications does the Los Angeles Pacific calendar, a Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. I always get that wrong. Every year. I think the only year they didn't do it was during the pandemic. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And they did it virtually, right? And so I finally went back. I got to go my first year. I got on the contest or got through it, 2014, 2015. And then I finally went back this last November, whenever they had it, or September. What was it? October. And, yeah, it was good. It was good to be back in theaters and see films and watch people do good work. And so, but this documentary shows the beginning of it, how they started as a nonprofit. When I remember, it's 1990, and they use film footage from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and it's really important because they look at, how they built this nonprofit and how they worked together to build like their first short film. They were the first Asian American filmmakers to get a grant, if I remember correctly. I wish I had time to watch all these again. So excuse me if I'm mistaking a few things, but they just went rogue and they just did it themselves. They also said that this is my favorite part, is that they asked for every time that they would hire somebody, they had everybody working, and the way they would pay people, half the crew would go on unemployment while the other half didn't. And then once the unemployment was done, they switched and then they would go back, which I think is really incredible. That's so funny. Just like, use the money, and here you go. Yeah. And you watch the whole thing. You see these Asian Americans making films in the 1970s with all these film cameras and doing artsy stuff. Like if you watch some of like City or Hirohata, just incredible works. You watch it and you start to say, like, what other films do I not know about? You watch them like, I want to watch more. I want to watch a ton from Jeff Adachi and Arthur Dong. They have so many films that they did. And like, I watch the clips, I'm like still looking for them. Like some of them I haven't watched yet. I'm like, where is that? It's just so artsy and different. It's not about being Asian American, but it is. And that's the stuff I live for, right? It's not, I actually think, and I've said this a couple times, I haven't said this recently, but I really think the older films, like from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that Asian Americans did themselves, are so much better than what we're watching today. I really, really see that. And I think it's because a lot of Asian Americans had their own storytelling, and they had their own power to do it. Right? Today, you see the studios, and they don't really have that. They have everybody else telling them how it should be done, or that they can't do that, or you see people leaving sets because they don't want to be there anymore. They didn't have that back then. They did it themselves, and I think that's what made it so incredible. And just watch this documentary about seeing them do it themselves and build a nonprofit. It's like us, like me. It's just like building this nonprofit to do something. We're just trying our hardest, and they're still surviving today. They're still good. They have a office out of Little Tokyo. I went there, and it's really dope. I wish I had the opportunity to work there. We're partners now. We started to work together, and I'm able to amplify their voices and give them our resources and tools, and hopefully they'll be able to do the same for us, and just have a panel sometime on their film festivals. That's how we partner. That's how we work together. I think it's really important. So go watch this movie. You can watch Claiming a Voice online. And you can also go watch Amy Tan Unintended Memoir on Netflix. Claiming a Voice you can watch on Vimeo. It's all there. It's free. So you have no excuse to go watch it. Take an hour. Put it on your Roku. Put it on your Apple TV. Whatever. Watch it on computer. Watch it. There's stuff to watch. I'll try to link it in the show notes, but watch. Take time. It's like an hour, right? Hour and a half each. Education. Don't stop learning. All right, next movie. You Don't Know Jack. The Jack Sue story. Oh my God. Jack Sue is gnarly. I love this dude. He's Jack. This documentary's director was Jeff Adachi. Jeff Adachi's done a lot of great work. I hope I get to meet him one day because he's done incredible documentaries and storytelling from the Asian American community. And but Jack Sue. Excuse me. So Jack SOO. I don't know what that was. Jack Sue. His real name was Goro Suzuki. Obviously, you changed it to an Americanized Jack name, and Sue, they kind of changed it because it looks like Chinese name, but Sue, it was short for Suzuki. S-U-S-A-K-I. And Jack was cool. Jack did a lot of work. If you don't know Jack, title of the story, you don't know Jack. And that was really, he's someone who obviously went through the camps, and he worked his butt off to get on TV roles, and he was on stage. He did some singing. He did a song, very Americanized song, very American song. I wish I could find it right now. Maybe I will. and they recorded it, and they said he sounded like the next like Barry Miller, who's someone very famous, very white dude, very good singer, and they never played it. They canceled it. So because he's Asian, but it sounds really good, and I think it's really important that we hear these stories and see what happened, because sometimes it just doesn't always work, and he did this show called Barney Miller. He was on the back end. He was kind of not an Outcast member, but he was a side member, side character, and he was funny. They all said he was funny. They all said like once he wouldn't always hit his lines or was always the writing, but when the writing was really good and Jack delivered it, it was perfect. And it's funny. He was also in Flower Drum Song, and he had a big role. And he just the way he looks at people, just the little things that he would do, made me laugh so far. I just like that's Jack. That's so funny. He's just he's someone special that I really wish people knew about more. And it's kind of great too. He died pretty young. I think he was only 60 or so. I have to fact check that. And he got sick. And people sent in so many fan letters. He didn't know how famous he was until he got those fan letters. That's huge. And I just wish that again, people knew who he was, because I'm part of the documentary right now, and like he's hilarious. He's also wasn't like, I don't want to be mean or anything, but he wasn't like the prettiest man. But he always sold it. Right? I think that makes me even more fascinated by him. He's always like, it's that personality that just makes it so lively, so important, that I love to keep doing. And I think it's just so much good, right? I'm gonna see if I can play this in here. Here we go.
Once in my life, I have someone who needs me, needed so long. For once unafraid, I can go where life leads me, and somehow I know I'll be strong. For once I can touch what my heart used to dream of, long before I knew. Someone warm like you would make my dream come true. For once in my life I won't let sorrow hurt me, not like it's hurt me before. For once I have something I know won't desert me, I'm not alone anymore. Once I can say, this is mine, you can't take it. Long as I know I have love, I can make it. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
Man, I wish I could show you the video. It's just he was someone cool. So Jack, oh come on, I want to change this. Come on, what's going on with my thing? Jack died in 1979. Very young. He's 1917, 1979. So that's like 72 years. 70 years old. That was it. So watch him. Watch You Don't Know Jack. It's a great film. When you start to watch older movies, you'll start to see it. There's Jack. He's everywhere. And Father Drum Song, he was singing too, and he's just he's someone special. So please watch that film too, and learn about his history. I think it's really valuable. All right, let's move on to the next movie. I'm gonna close out some of these tabs, and Slaying the Dragon. Yeah. The director was Deborah G. Excuse me. I'm going to read you the log line because I feel like it's going to be way better than I could present it, which I should probably do that more often. You know me. I'm still getting used to the format and doing this myself and trying to find other ways to be less off the cuff. But it's just me right now, so that's good. Let's just get into it. So, Slaying the Dragon, 1988. It's a TV movie. It's only an hour long. Here's the critical from IMDb. A highly critical documentary about the history of Asian American actresses in Hollywood, featuring interviews with pioneering Asian American actresses and clips from the classic films such as Thief of Baghdad, The Good Earth, and The World of Susie Wong, interspread with Asian feminism sociological commentary. And you get voices like Amy Hill, Nancy Kwan, Guy Lee, Kim Mori, Miyori, James Shigeta, Nobu McCarthy, Connie Chung. There's two of them. So there's Slaying the Dragon and Slaying the Dragon Reloaded, both of which you can watch on Amazon Prime. Go do it. Do yourself a favor and watch it. You can actually if you want to skip the paying like everybody else, like I do, you can watch it on Tubi.tv. I'm pretty sure it's there. Watch it. Again, it's another documentary about Asian American women in Hollywood and how the stereotypes of over-sexualization, this quiet and meek and this subservient women, like it's all about that. And you can see how all the women who played those roles, how they were trying to fight against it and be better, and how it hasn't really changed. It's amazing because you watch and you're like, hasn't changed. And you watch the Slaying the Dragon Reloaded. So the difference between the two is that Slaying the Dragon was like from, I'm messing up the dates, but I'm just going to go off the top of my head. It's like the 1980s down, right? So 1980s and 1910s. All those movies, and you look at them and like how they were. You look at Anime Wong and I don't know, maybe Aoki Tsuru Aoki. You look at those people who built Asian American women in film and television, and how they were just whitewashed and looked over. It breaks your heart. You see that how it happens, and then you see that it really hasn't much changed. And then Slaying the Dragon Reloaded is everything but like 2001 to 1980. And so you see like people like Lucy Liu. I'm forgetting names. You have to apologize. Like I haven't watched it in a while. I just love these movies. I can watch it again, but the details like escape me. But you see how it kind of has changed and hasn't changed. It's more now it's dragon mothers and it's over the top. And then you see that Asian American women, they would be in more films, but they wouldn't have race. Like you wouldn't see anything about them being racial, and it wouldn't be about being Asian American. Be the only one Asian American woman there, but like her actions and anything, thoughts, the talking, had nothing ever to do with being Asian American, and it's kind of just not true all the time. Sometimes there's just a little bit here and there, and you could just see how white men and white women would write Asian women, and how just wrong it would be. How just it was not whitewashing, but it was like cultural erasure. You would see that, and you could see that there was a problem. So this is a really great film. It's a 2-part, so it's like a couple hours. But if you're an Asian American woman, or an Asian American woman, which I hope you do, share this movie because it's something really important to watch. Again, watching these documentaries will teach you about Asian American Hollywood. And if you don't really know, and you don't get it, like this is a really good place to start. Really good place to start. And there's a few more that we'll go over, but you got to keep learning, keep educating. I mean, sometimes you think you know these things, and you watch more, and you're like, now I know so much more. Keep learning. Again, I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a pause a minute right here and just thank you all for listening again. I'm not going to plug anything. I don't have an ad or anything. I just want to thank you for listening in. And if you're tuning in from the live stream, please, I can't see the live stream comments or anything. So sorry. My computer it's hitting its peak. It's starting to die out. I can't do this live stream and have the internet open on the video stuff because then it'll just die. It's died a couple times like this week. So I'm not really sorry about that. Just like, yeah, if you want to comment, you want to say something, you like DM me, hit me on Discord. I don't know. Find a way to ask a question during it, but we'll find a way. Eventually we'll upgrade everything and we'll have like a good system, but that's what we have for now. So yeah, thank you for listening and please share. We have two more. Ooh, where's the other one go? The next one is The Slanted Screen. I'm going to find it. The Slanted Screen. Sorry. I thought I had it pulled up. Slanted Screen is like the Slaying the Dragon, but for men. Right? It's Asian American men who were on screen. And how it really hasn't changed. So this was 2006. It was directed by Jeff Adachi. Again, Jeff Adachi. Amazing film. Like, it spoke so much to my heart. I saw so many actors that I've watched for the years. Mako, Frank Chin, Daniel Day Kim, Jason Scott Lee, Zima, Dustin Nguyen, Karihiro Yoyuki Tagawa, Will Young Lee, Bobby Lee. There's so many people who were in this movie, in this documentary. It was about, again, 1 hour long, so it's probably another TV thing. And that's with the logline. From silent film star Setsue Hayakawa to Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, The Slanted Screen examines the portrayal of Asian men in film and television. Now, the new filmmakers are now redefining age-old stereotypes. And I think that's really important because we're still fighting for it today. Like, it hasn't changed, right? But if we don't learn our past and learn what we're coming against and who's paved the way for us, we're never going to go to the future. Not the way we think we're going to. We're just going to keep trying to redo what they did. Instead of learning what they did, learn what their mistakes were and learn what they've already tried and trying something different. And that's really what we're trying to do here at Strong Asian Lead. It's like, I kind of seen what people have done before. It's not working. It's working better than nothing, but there's got to be something better. And that's part of claiming a voice. It's part of The Slanted Screen and Slaying the Dragon. Got to change it. We got to learn what they did. I really highly recommend this movie. I forgot where you can go watch this. I'm pretty sure you can watch it on Canopy. Canopy. If not on Canopy, get Canopy. It's free. If you get a library card, it's free. You can watch 9 movies a month, and they got a lot of Asian American movies. If I can make a quick side note, Canopy and Tubi.tv, probably the two biggest places, streaming channels that you can watch Asian American documentaries and movies on for free. You probably don't know about it. Highly recommend both of those. And so please, it's free. Why not? And so there's a lot of stuff you can watch online for free. If you work hard enough, you can find it for free. Trust me. And if you find that, you look at, just Google and learn stuff, ask questions. If you ask enough questions, you'll find a lot of good stuff. I'll leave it at that. Okay, one more movie, and then a bonus movie, bonus clip, and then we'll kind of slither out here. More Than Miyagi. I just rewatched this movie. Director was Kevin Derrick. It's about Pat Morita. Noriyuki Morita. That was his real name. He did a lot. And you don't know that, obviously we kind of, you guessed it, he's Japanese, he's old enough, he was in the camps, right? But you don't know that when he was 2 years old, it was actually when he was born. When he was born, his mother gave him to his aunt. So he grew up with his aunt. So he gave him away, first thing, so he wasn't wanted. Then when he was 2, he broke his spine. Couldn't walk for about 7, 9 years. In the hospital. So his aunt gave him to the hospital. So now he was, again, abandoned. And then when World War II hit, the country abandoned him. Sent his whole family to camp. And he was in the hospital until he was 11. He did learn how to walk again. And they actually said, you're going to die. And if you live, you'll never walk again. He survived both of those. Pretty amazing, right? And when he got out of the hospital, he went to camp with his family, which he didn't know, right? He didn't know this family. It wasn't his original family. It wasn't his family that he grew up with, let alone the hospital. He lived in more of this life than with his aunt. He actually said he was crying at camp because he had to leave the hospital. That was his family. And then when we got out of camp, he went to try to go to school. He went to high school, and then his family wanted to move from Oakland to Sacramento. And then he wanted to stay. He stayed for his last year of high school, and then he wanted to go to college. And then he said, "You can't go to college. You have to help at the restaurant." And being the good Japanese he did, he did. So he couldn't do the things he wanted to do, and he eventually got married at 21. He actually got married at 20. He was only a few weeks away from his birthday, and he had his father sign for the marriage license. And then he worked at like an aerospace, and I actually think my family does know me, Pat Morita. They lived like down the street, across the street, something like that, and so they kind of knew him. I know my uncle really knew him, and I want to think my grandfather knew him because he was in the aerospace, like I said, the same city, same time, and so I think that's could have happened. You never know. And he didn't know math because he didn't go to college, so he worked there, and someone had to teach him how to do the calculus and the division and all that kind of stuff, and one day it just clicked, and he got it. But then when they kind of saw that he was more of a people person than he was a mathematician, they moved him up to management to manage people's schedules and work with them for their vacation time and all that stuff. So it was a good move for him. But then they wanted to move him up. But if he wanted to be promoted again, he'd have to go back to school. And he's like, why go back to school for math, something I don't like to do, to get a $500 raise in 20, 50 years? So he's like, he thought, like, what do I do? He's like, every time I would come back is go to show business. And so he started going to comedy clubs. I won't spoil everything for you because I think you should just watch it. But I watched it again, and it's just such a really good documentary. But he went to documentary clubs, and he finally made his way through Hollywood. And obviously he went all the way to all the movies. But people know him as Mr. Miyagi. People know him if you know him as Mr. Miyagi. Some people, I say, do you know who Pat Morita is? I'm like, no. And I'm like, do you know Mr. Miyagi? And like, oh yeah. I'm like, it's Pat Morita. But people don't know that he was in so many TVs and movies and side guest stars and stand-up comedy for so many years, before and after that. He had his own TV show, O'Hara. I'm watching it now. It's pretty good. It's like an old crime-solving cop show, and he's the star. And he did 30 episodes. And you can't buy it. You can't watch it now. I mean, you can find it. There is a place you can find it on YouTube. And you can't find the first or the last episode, unfortunately. But it's there. And it's really important. I think it's really cool to see a Japanese-American star be a cop and just and take down crime and solve it in ways that doesn't involve violence. Pretty cool. Like, man, he was awesome. But what you don't know is that he was an alcoholic. He was an alcoholic since he was 12. His grandfather was an alcoholic. His father was an alcoholic. They used to make sake, make bootleg sake in camp. Nothing else to do, so they drank. Really sad. And he drank his way to death, basically. Really sad. Again, these stories we don't know. We take it for granted that we're here now. That as Asian American in cinema, that this is where we're at. And I'm sorry that I'm like, this is like mostly East Asian stories, and I'm recognizing that fact right now. I haven't found a lot of South Asian documentaries on cinema history, and haven't really come across them, but I will call on myself that I haven't looked for any. And I will do that moving forward, and West Asian and Central Asian, I'll just keep doing that, but in Southeast, and there's so much more. But but if we actually look at the history, Asian American cinema history, Chinese and Japanese and some Koreans were here before, since like the early 1900s. So they've had more time. And that's just kind of where we're at. And the first Filipino film, and full feature film with all Filipino, was with Dante Bosco and his family. That's still pretty recent, right? So you have to think that, some people just have more time in the country. Again, my family's been here for 100 years. It's a long time. So, yeah. Anyways, I just think, more than Miyagi, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Very much worth it. If you're a fan of Pat Morita, you think he's a star, you think he's a part of a hero, just watch it. You'll think of him very differently. Not that I don't think he's not a hero, but very sad. Very sad. I wish I could pay condolences or, Okay, I'm going to move on to two more things. I mean, the extra bonus. This extra bonus is the history of Media Action Network for Asian Americans. So this is like a 20-minute documentary. It's like 17 minutes. And if you don't know MANA, MANAA, they're a group of Asian American activists who fought and protested and talked about Asian Americans in entertainment. Exactly what we're doing here at Strong Asian Lead. Different format, different little people. It's just me, but at the same time, that's kind of where I started. So I actually saw this clip with Guy Aoki back in 1995. I forgot when when it was. And he was fighting Sarah Silverman about a joke she made using the word chink. And he fought against that. He fought and asserted himself on national television. He told Bill Maher to let him finish. He cut him off. He's the only person who's ever done that. He got Jay Leno to apologize. Again, it's pretty huge. Why don't we talk about this? Why don't we know his name? Guy Aoki. Thankfully, we have him on our podcast. Right? We have him as an interview. So maybe he's next. Maybe he's not. That podcast episode is fire. I know it's two. It has to be like a 2-part episode because I think we talked for like 2 hours. Man. But if you don't know, if this is the people I like look up to because they fought against racial stereotypes and they went out on the streets and protested against it. You don't really see that very often these days, or ever. I've been to one protest with James Corden. That dude in the whole, eat this thing. I was thankful for Kim Saria for doing that. Gotta remember, protesting, politics, it's not going to get you fired. Maybe. You going to stand up for your rights? You going to stand up for what you believe in? I am. Protest. Get loud. Find your crew. It's really important. New Yorkers, we protest. We get out there and do something about it. You don't see it very often. It's really sad. You need to organize. One moment. I want to make sure the fridge was off. Do protest. Get out there. Watch what they did. See what they did. Yeah, they're not popular. Yeah, they don't have a lot of money right now. I think that sucks. Because you know what? I look up to them a lot. So please watch this documentary. You can watch it on Vimeo and YouTube. We'll probably put it in the show notes. But it's really important that you watch these types of things. Really, really valuable. I'm going to give you one last bonus. It's not a documentary, but it's something I've been watching recently. It's actually the Academy Television Awards interviews. So you can go on their website and they have like hours and hours of interviews from just big Emmy Academy Award winners, everybody, right? I actually went down and looked for all the names I could find who are Asian. And I found Pat Morita, George Takei, Connie Chung. Who else did I find? I found he's right here. John So, which you probably don't know that name. Margaret Cho. Riza Badiri. I haven't watched that one yet, but he's Iranian. And George Sunga, who did TV shows like Gung Ho. Hours, I think Pat Morita was like at least 3 hours. Same with George Takei and Connie Chung was like 3 hours. It's like, watch them. Watch how they lived, how they make it through the industry. I think that's more valuable than anything else. Yeah, it's straight up interviews. You can literally hear them say, all right, we're going to change the tape. It's that old. I think it's like 2004. Still using tape by then. So, but watch them, right? Learn, educate. It's important for us to do that. And I've already gone through a lot of it. It's like, we have to do it ourselves because who's going to teach me? No one's going to teach me this stuff. No one has like the time. No one has the knowledge. I'm teaching other people. I'm teaching big studios where to go watch this stuff. It's really important. So take some time, educate something that maybe you don't know that you can teach me. Right? You're in Southeast Asian. I don't see enough. Teach me more. Filipina. Teach me more. Teach me something. Become the sensei. That's what I tell my clients. Become the sensei. Be an expert and teach me something. Cause I'm a sponge. I'm literally a yellow sponge, man. I want to learn everything. I don't know everything. I want to teach what I know. But I want us all to keep growing and learning. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's it for today's podcast episode and this live stream, whatever it is. I'm glad I'm still doing it. And I'm a little late today, but it felt good just to still be on the mic and talk about it. Yeah, I've got a lot of work. I've got a lot of work on my hands. I didn't have to do this. Still wanted to do it. I'm still here. So week 3, 2022 feels pretty good. And I feel excited from last week, and that's been really great. Back up at my 5 a.m. workouts and still up today. And yeah, so I hope you got a lot out of this podcast. If you're interested, and please, like, you're probably already following us on Instagram, but share it. I don't really do the podcast Instagram posts. I don't want to do those things. Not until I can find someone else to do it. So please, I hope someone can do that for me, please. Yeah, please share this episode. Share something else and give me feedback. If you say, hey, David, you gotta jazz it up, or you need a host, or don't be so down, or whatever, tell me. I'd love to know. I'd love to hear from anybody. I'd love to hear from anybody who's listening to this podcast. Really, really, really would. Because, it's lonely, if I'm being honest. And so, yeah, cool. Yeah, and if you're a screenwriter and stuff, or a screenwriter, please have them reach out to me for a free consultation on our coaching courses. It's going pretty well. Got some new clients, and that feels really great. So I really want to teach and share what I know, get people on their screenwriting careers. Beyond that, I don't know. I don't want to say like donate or anything, but be great just to share. You know what? Rate our podcast. Do that. I think we have 5 ratings. Give me a review. Just say, hey, love your yellow jacket. Say, whatever, you say I'm cute. I don't know. I really don't care. That helps us. It helps us just kind of grow. But anyways, have a wonderful week. Set some goals, knock them out, and be good to yourselves. Be good to others. Educate yourselves, and just have fun. Don't remember to have fun. It's a hard year. We're already into it. It's already kind of dark, but I have a lot of good energy. I'm coming with good energy. I have a lot of friends with good energy right now. Not everybody has that. Some friends are sick, but yeah. Be cool to people. Be cool, man. Be cool. All right. Have a wonderful week. Peace out.